Hey, how's it going, guys? I am attorney Michael Eline, and as most of my audience probably already knows, I am an attorney licensed in California and Texas, and I primarily do catastrophic injury cases like car accidents and motorcycle accidents. But I'm also a big time natural law advocate, and I just love seeing guys like Lane Meyers and pro-pers go out there and stand up for their rights and make change, make positive change, and do things in court that I'd never be able to do. So I'm starting the show a little early tonight. Originally, I was just going to talk about predictive policing, but then because I am an inactive, hopefully you can figure it out, because I am an inactive U.S. Marine, I wanted to cover the Daniel Penny case, and I wanted to cover both sides. I wanted to cover the woke mob BLM side as well as the patriotic pro-America side, and talk a little bit about what happened with the Daniel Penny criminal case where the main criminal charge just got dropped. And I wanted to get into that a little bit. So I started a little early to cover that. And hopefully by the time I'm done covering that, it'll be around 5 o'clock, which is when the original show was supposed to start. And we can get into predictive policing because it's just blowing my mind. If you guys remember that Tom Cruise movie, right, Minority Report, where they had basically the same thing, predictive policing. And then we see the World Economic Forum doing the whole, you could predict the election, heil, all that stuff. So you can see the administrative state wants it all to be predictive. They want to push you into a 15-minute city. And they don't think you have human rights or natural rights, right? Obviously full-on atheists. We know that natural law means that your rights come from a creator, and they don't believe in that, and they don't think you have rights. Billionaires don't think you have rights. They have rights, but you don't, right? And they're the ones pushing all this garbage on us. And we're going to talk a little bit about predictive policing as well. And if we have some time, I'll have some additional comedy for you. As a lot of you guys know, I kind of have a burnout job doing law, and it's not something I ever expected. But as a result, I have kind of a sick sense of humor, and I'm a child of the 80s. So we're going to really quick. Hey, what's going on, Steve? ¿Qué pasa? Hola, carnal. ¿Todo bien? Hey, Salt Shaker. Muchas gracias for your coming. All right. So let me really quick, a word from, this is obviously hopefully there's a few children of the 80s here. This is obviously a parody. I'm having some fun, and now a word from our sponsors.
Look at this picture here. 10 children and a mom and a dad live in a little tent like this. Crowded, destitute. We couldn't even speak English at the time. And after we got out of this refugee camp, we got to do many odd jobs to support the family, like washing dishes, busboy, mowing lawn, and so forth. Thank God that I found a unique system to make millions in real estate starting from nothing. As a result, we became financially independent. And several years ago, I decided to share this wealth-building knowledge with other people across the country. Many people took my seminar, become very wealthy. Many of my students are about to get on TV to tell you how my system had changed their life. If you want to become financially independent, come to my seminar. Let me show you how to make the fortune you have always dreamed about.
Andrew Carnegie says 90% of America's millionaires made it in real estate. If you have a desire to make your fortune in real estate, the Tom Vu Real Estate Seminar is for you.
You do have two choices right now, my friend. Number one is do nothing. Stay home. Do what most people do. And 5 years later, you'll be lucky if you have a job. Or number two, you can come to my seminar. Learn the secret of how other people are making millions. So someday, you can become financially independent yourself.
This is the Vu family when they first arrived in the United States, destitute, with nothing. Tom Vu and his 10 brothers and sisters had to live in a tent. Now the Vu family has become financially independent thanks to the Tom Vu money-making system. Mr. Vu says to make a fortune in America, you must learn from successful people, apply proven techniques, and then become financially free.
I'm excited. Are you ready? Come to my seminar. Let me show you the secret to be rich. You have the same chance to have what I have. Don't sell yourself short. When you tell people that they can find a job making $25,000 a year, they believe it. But when you tell them that there's an opportunity for them to make millions in real estate, they're being skeptical. You know what? There's two kinds of people in life, the small thinker and the big thinker. Which one are you?
My friends, I know lots of you out there are skeptical. In my hand, framed, is a check for $203,029.32. I net in one transaction, one deal. This is a net check. Lots of people keep telling their families that when I get rich, I shall take care of you. But there are two kinds of people in the world, doers and talkers.
That's true.
Which one are you?
Have you ever dreamed that someday you will make a lot of money to help your loved ones? Here is your chance. Don't miss the boat. Most people
I'll do
don't have
Bernard Gates one.
self-esteem. They don't believe that they can make a lot of money. My friend, you can do anything if you put your mind to it. You only live once. Don't let your dreams slip away.
Hi, my name is Art Stanowski. I attended Tampu seminar, and on my first transaction, I made $25,190.
There's nobody holding you back from making millions.
It's so easy to make money in real estate, and I'm planning to be a millionaire by age 25.
I have a small goal that in the future, I will be remembered as a man who has taught more millionaires in this world than any man who ever lived. This goal makes me excited.
Just like you. I was tired from living from paycheck to paycheck.
There's no one stop you from going to my seminar.
Tom Wu showed me the way to financial freedom. Think about that for a second. If you have any guts at all to attend this free 90-minute seminar, how in the world do you expect to make any money?
Okay, you see my students come from all walk of life, get on TV and tell you how simple it is to make a lot of money with my system. Oh, it doesn't matter where you are, what your occupation is. I don't care if you are housewife, school teacher, engineer. You've seen them get on TV tell you that they make money. Think about this. Can you make a lot of money with your current occupation to afford yourself a luxury lifestyle like mine? Well, mine can. My system can show you how to do that. And I know some of you still thinking, well, maybe there's a catch somewhere. Well, I used to think that there's no catch. But until one of my very successful students and very old wise students come and tell me one day, he said, well, Tom, if anybody ever asks you what is a catch with your system, tell them there's an old American saying. It's called, get off your butt and do it. You ready to become wealthy? Come to my seminar. Make that first step. Let me show you how.
Wow. I mean, I'm just so amazed. I mean, now my life has totally changed. Seeing that Tom Vu seminar commercial, it just changed my life forever. And now I know what I need to do on YouTube. First, I have to say, you want to get a lot of gill? Watch my channel. Want to get a lot of gill? Watch my channel. All right. So, guys, all jokes aside, that was Tom Vu. That was one of my favorite infomercials when we had just VHF and UHF channels. And I'm just waiting for the chat to fill up. I'm a child of the 80s. I think it was the best. I think there will never, ever be anything in our history that can eclipse the 80s. An amazing time for all of us. And I'm grateful to have all of you on my channel. The last couple of days I've been covering Lane Meyers, and I've been getting a lot of blowback from people who are like, how dare you say that Lane should allow the other side to speak or whatever. And that wasn't my point, guys. My point was, and you got to watch my videos, guys. Like, don't watch 3 seconds and assume you know what I'm doing, because I was a pro-per litigant like him, and that's what, after getting beat up by a cop, that's what challenged me to become a lawyer with no law school or undergrad. And that's why I support him, because I understand people like him, because I am one of those people. I just happened to become a member of the bar in California as well as Texas later with no law school degree or undergrad. And you could do it too. Come to my seminar. Come to my seminar. Just kidding. No, but seriously, I don't have a seminar. I do have a book that I sell about how to become a lawyer with no law degree or law school or undergrad in California. And I cover some of the other states, but I don't, I'm not telling you to come to my seminar. But no, what I was trying to tell you guys is don't think that you can do what Lane does. Don't think you can do what Chile DeCastro does. Those guys are in the top point, like 0.0001% of the population who are capable of doing that, because they have a very high processing speed, and in my opinion, they're geniuses. They're intellectually and gifted with really high IQs. That's why they're able to do it. What I was trying to tell you guys is don't think that you can do what they're doing. All right, I'm not trying to say that. Well, I am saying that as a lawyer, I could never get away with what they do. Obviously, I mean, it violates all the rules of court. I would be disbarred in 3 seconds flat. But for you guys, the message that I was trying to send to you is don't think that you can do what they're doing. And by the way, on my channel, I have, because I support the guy, because look, I get it. He's not a lawyer. He's not expected to know all the stuff that we know. So here, I'm going to drop in the sidebar. I do remember Bernard Gates. By the way, Steve Ladner, of course, brother. Yeah, but I think that Tom Vu was the best. And I remember watching those videos on like Channel 56, like during the Wally George. I remember Wally George would play those videos. Oh my gosh, it was the best. So I would watch those, and he's like, "Come to my seminar. You want me la Gil?" And I was like right down the street from Garden Grove. Unfortunately, I never learned about pho, the soup that the Vietnamese make, until I started my limousine company. And my partner in the limousine business, his father, by the way, was a Marine drill instructor, so naturally we got along. And the mother was Vietnamese, and so he introduced me to pho soup. Pho. Oh my God, guys! Once I had pho. By the way, my wife, just as a little secret to all you guys, if you meet a girl who is like from another country and they've never tried anything unique, I took her to get pho soup, man, and like she was sold. Like, it's so good. I got the pho with chicken, but I think they have a bunch of different ones. I'm a pho chicken guy. And then the shrimp spring rolls with the basil and the peppermint spearmint. Oh my gosh. Just deadly. So good. If you want to win a woman's heart, they say a key to a man's heart is food, but if you're dating and you want to introduce a woman to exotic food, take her to some Vietnamese food. It's just drop dead amazing. Just the best. Just the best. So anyways, let me see here. I'm looking in the sidebar. Thanks, guys, for joining me today. Again, I did start a little early, so I'm not expecting like a huge turnout at the very beginning. But what I'm going to do is I just dropped the link in my profile to the Lane Meyers Legal Defense Fund. So again, guys, what I'm trying to tell you is I support Lane. I'm just telling you, as a lawyer, I could never get away with what he gets away with in court. And I think he knows that. That's probably why he's not a lawyer, because I think that if he was a lawyer, he would be retired already from the practice of law, because the guy is, like, his processing speed is off the chart. Like, I'm a very smart guy. I have a very high IQ, and I can spot high IQs like that. The dude is a genius. There's no question about it. And what I'm trying to tell you guys is don't think that you can go into court and do that, because you're going to end up in jail. He just knows what he's doing, and it appears, based upon his opponents, that he's up against opponents who are not at his level. I mean, in California, there just aren't judges that at such a low level of legal knowledge and training. And so, man, I almost wish that I had an Arizona bar card, because I think I would clean up there. I come from a place where there's so much competition. If you're not in the top 0.001% of lawyers, you're not going to make any money. So the fact that I was able to do it with no law degree or undergrad, initially at least, I did end up getting a law degree after I became a practicing member of the bar, because I knew people would say, "Oh, you don't have a bar, you don't have a law license, or you don't have a JD, so you're nobody." But what I saw is that most of my professors were far left, and it was like a political re-education camp, just like the community colleges or the regular colleges try to turn you into a leftist. Not my cup of tea. I am a patriot. I love my country. Give me a bunch of ones if you're a patriot and you love your country too, because that's what I'm all about. That's what Team MPE is all about. Natural law. Our rights come from a creator, just like it says in the Declaration of Independence, not from the government, not from the state. And that I believe that everybody should be well armed and always armed and be ready to protect their family, because the police are always 15 minutes away when seconds count. So give me a bunch of ones for that too. That's a really cool comment. So really quick, I'm going to drop the link again. And hopefully, well, I put it, sorry, let me drop it over here. Hey, Forrest, good seeing you, brother. I love seeing those private first class chevrons. By the way, Forrest, Goodwin is a paying member. He's one of my paid subscribers, so he has access to all my back stuff. Now, okay, so also let me just do a little housekeeping before we kick off the show. I did that story on the Kentucky guys who their house was on fire and the cops showed up and the police beat them up because they were trying to put the lithium battery fire out. And somebody made a comment like, I don't appreciate you making fun of their accent. It's like, you got to understand something. I'm a comedian, all right? So I'm going to make fun of your accent. I used to live in Scotland, mate, and I make fun of everybody's accent. It's like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you speak Ebonics, I'm going to learn how to speak Ebonics. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, shit. So, like that's just who I am. So, if you're like a snowflake and you can't handle a little humor, you're obviously not from the mountains of Kentucky, because I have friends who live there. So, I'm sorry that you can't handle a little bit of humor, brother, but that's just the way it is. You know, in America, we have to be, like, people make fun of me all the time, and you're not going to see me, like, melting like a snowflake and say, I don't appreciate you making fun of me. That's not how it works. So, that's just how it is, man. You got to have some fun. And the Southern accents, I got to tell you, I mean, it's something to make fun of for someone from California. But it doesn't mean that I don't love the Southerners at all. I mean, I love the Southerners. All of my Marine Corps buddies to a T are from the Deep South, except for, well, even BJ Watchdog's from the South. I don't know if he's from the Deep South, but Texas. And I am licensed in Texas. So give me a bunch of ones for Texas. By the way, Texas has legislation that's going to be going forward. By the way, I'm just talking right now because I want to fill up the audience. We got about 96 people in the chat because I don't want people to miss this, because this is pretty important. It's about Daniel Penny, a fellow Marine, and I care about him. But yeah, Texas has a new legislative proposal to go back to the gold standard, basically statewide. So if Texas goes back to the gold and silver, where they have a currency backed by something of intrinsic value other than the promises of a bunch of scumbags, like what we have now with the Jekyll Island travesty, I'll be immediately moving to Texas. So hopefully you guys will join me there. Great patriotic state. All my brothers at the Leathernecks Motorcycle Club Peacemaker chapter are down there. I'll miss the Leatherneck Spartans in Nevada, but you guys know, like Ragnar knows, that I'll be up here at the Leathernecks Bar and Historical Museum for the Marine Corps birthday. Come hell or high water, brother, I'll be here to support your chapter. So I'm big time. I big time support the Leathernecks Motorcycle Club, and I think you guys should too, because they stand up for charitable causes like the Paul E. Line Ride, which is named after my father, who died from Agent Orange poisoning from Vietnam, as well as exposure at Camp Lejeune. And we were lied to get us into that war. They called it a police action, kind of like what Putin's calling the war in Ukraine, saying that it's a special military action. Same thing, same crap, same garbage. Hey, Rami, good seeing you, brother. And by the way, guys, give me a bunch of ones for Rami. He helped me out last night trying to edit out all the cuss words from a video of Lane Meyers, because one thing you got to understand about me, guys, is the administrative state does not like me, okay? They do not like me. And any chance they get, they will put a strike against my channel to try to take me down. I am probably the only lawyer you're ever going to meet that really stands for the people, because I'm one of you. I became a lawyer because I wanted to help people, not to make money. It just so happened that I made money because so many people were like, I hate lawyers, but I like you. Because I care about veterans and American people like my dad. So that's what ended up happening, and I just became successful. But even if I was totally poor and slept on park benches like I did when I was trying to become a lawyer, I will always be that same person. I just love my country. So that's just who I am. And money doesn't matter as much as country and your people that you care about. So anyways, look, I'm going to go ahead and kick off the show, and we'll just get it started.
To another edition of Ask Michael Eline. This is where I teach people the law in an unorthodox manner by using examples that we see in the news, case law briefs, but it's all about exposing the Leviathan and its instrumentalities and taking back your rights. Know the law and mean to keep it well. Come here to learn. from an expert to know you're right. Make sure to like and subscribe. Make sure to save, because we never know when the thought police are going to take down this channel.
Yeah, and I appreciate what Mike Webb has to say. Mike Webb says, I would not be proud to say that I am a veteran. They fought for this to happen. Or that's not true, though. My Marine Corps brothers, and probably most of the veterans, well, I got to say just the Marines, because the Marines don't promise you a rose garden. You join the Marine Corps because you want to be a Marine. So you join the Army, you join the Air Force, you join the Coast Guard, join the Space Force, you join the Navy, but you become a United States Marine. And it's probably the closest thing America has to the French Foreign Legion. We join because we serve each other. We're brothers. And when you get out, and that's why I want my son to be a Marine, because when you get out, no matter what, you'll always have a couch to sleep on. And BZ Watchdog knows what I'm talking about. You'll always have someone to throw you a lifeline when it matters. And we love our country. We took an oath to uphold the Constitution. And with your help, with Team MPE's help, we can reclaim this country. And we have a chance right now, within these next 4 years, to abolish the Jekyll Island tragedy. It's gonna be a problem, but we have a chance. And I'll have Brett Pike come on and talk about tariffs, and about how we never had an income tax, and about how the for-profit media and the Marxist-run education system is going to force down your throat that tariffs are bad, and that we need to have 80,000 agents, trying to audit us, who are armed, right? That we need to have this privately funded banking system that Wikipedia says isn't private, but we know, if we're educated, that it is. And we can have that conversation in another show. But tonight, we're going to get into something a little bit different. So the first thing that I want to get into is, obviously, I would really like it if you would support Lane, because Lane Meyers reminds me of the same people that I grew up with, like the Freemen of Montana, and the people that really stood tall for their country. And irrespective of what you think of me for supporting him, because trust me, I'm getting a lot of blowback from lawyers and the legal community for supporting this guy. Like, you have no idea. Like, I'm putting myself out on a limb. So let me just drop this link. Because after all, I'm getting old now. I don't really have a plan B, guys. If I can't, I've got other people relying on me. So I'm going out on a limb here to try to make this happen for Lane and his people. But give to the Lane Meyers Legal Defense Fund. I have no skin in the game. I have no relationship with Lane. I don't really know the guy other than what I've seen. I haven't done a lot of research about his other cases. What I've commented on is the courtroom decorum. And what I've tried to tell you guys, and I'll keep telling you, don't think that you can do what this guy's doing. Don't think that you can be a Chile de Castro, okay? Don't think that you have that. Those guys are in the top 0.0001% of the population. Those guys they have processing speeds like a Cray computer, all right? So you need to, if you're going to pro per yourself, learn proper courtroom decorum. Let people finish talking. Get out your notepad. Let the other person talk. Write down each one of their points, and then address them point by point. Don't give the black robe taskmaster, well, the hypothetical black robe taskmaster, right? I got to be very careful about what I say. You don't, but I do, okay? You can read between the lines. The opportunity to throw you in the dungeon. Listen to the things that I'm telling you. Don't look at me like I'm your enemy. It's okay if you want to think I'm your enemy. It's okay if you want to tell me that I'm terrible because I'll make fun of them southern accents. Swing blade, sling blade. But whatever, I'm just trying to have some fun. And if you're a snowflake, you probably shouldn't be watching my show. I come from the old school where we make fun of each other. We have fun. Military background. Roust each other. And that's how it should be, by the way. You should have a little bit of a constitution besides the written constitution, right? Guys, give me a bunch of ones if you agree. It's okay to make fun of each other if it's in fun. Obviously, I did a video about the Kentucky Fire guys, lithium battery case, civil rights lawyer case, because I care about those guys. and I want them to obviously be successful in whatever actions they bring against the police department. All right, so thank you guys for supporting my channel. And then Montana Kid says, I have a higher IQ. Well, that's good for you, brother. I'm happy for you. Typically, people with high IQs don't generally brag about it. They'll typically talk about it in relation to other people because they don't want them to get trapped. And that's where I'm getting at. Like, I don't want you to get trapped where you think that you're smarter than everyone else, because sometimes I am smarter than most people. There's no question about that. But I don't use that as a tool to try to take advantage of people or prove anything. It's more like, since I am smarter than a lot of people, I have a duty. So Thomas Aquinas, let me just really quick before we get into the show, because again, we were going to start at 5, so we still have like 15 minutes. Is that fair, guys? Can I talk a little bit about Thomas Aquinas? Because I get a lot of complaints like, hey, get to the point. You're boring me, like from a lot of the people who watch my channel. You're boring me. You're not like getting to the point. And I was like, well, dude, because I'm waiting for people to come into the chat. So, all right, well, at least Lawyer Dog wants me to talk about it. So Thomas Aquinas talked about the accidents. Everybody has accidents. And because it's old and it's, you know, I just think people from then were so much more intelligent than us. But basically, a beautiful woman, that's an accident. If you're born beautiful, you have no desire to work hard because you don't have to. You're hot. Every guy wants you, right? If you're obese, you're forced to become intelligent to make money. I'm not suggesting that you should be obese by any stretch of the imagination. That's what Pfizer and those guys want, so they can sell you something to treat your high blood pressure, right? I want everybody to be in shape. That's why I do my lawyer workout videos. But the bottom line is, everyone has accidents. Some people are born being really good shysters and con men. We just saw an example of that earlier in the show. That's an accident. Because it's almost a mistake or an accident that you were born with this condition that prevents you from being a normal person, right? But everybody has accidents. An ugly woman has to find other ways to survive. An obese woman has to find other ways to survive. A stupid guy has to find other ways to survive. A highly intelligent man will rely on his intelligence to get through life. And that's just the way it is. Those are called accidents. So that's what Thomas Aquinas talked about. But the problem is with those accidents is when a beautiful woman, okay, this is the segue in, when a beautiful woman like a Pamela Anderson, for example, loses her beauty and becomes aged, what happens to her? And of course, she's been run through a million times. I'm not suggesting that's Pam Anderson, don't sue me. I'm not suggesting this is you. By the way, when I lived in Scotland, as soon as I got to the first pub, and people were like, are you from England? Because they hated the English. I said, no, I'm from California. Oh, California! And they pointed up to the TVs, Sky TV or whatever they had, the cable TVs. If you could see through all the smoke in their pubs. Pam Anderson! Baywatch, Jimmy! And that's what it was all about, right? Baywatch. And they just loved her and they thought she was so hot. But as you age, as a woman in particular, women, once they hit probably 45, they lose it. It's just the way it is. That what society considers beauty to be. And so Aquinas referenced that as an accident because she never learned any practical skills to be able to support herself or her family other than relying on her beauty. If she had a family, typically the super hot chicks burn through like 50, 60 dudes, right? Through their life and get divorced multiple times. So that's what Aquinas talked about, all right? So I'm just trying to like make you guys understand. I'm a legal philosopher, okay, like Blackstone's, Aquinas. If you want to learn about what makes me tick, watch the 10th Amendment Center videos. Mike over at the 10th Amendment Center, that guy, he's nailed it. So these are called accidents. Now, I noticed earlier somebody had some questions for me, but I see the clown face on the guy, and I just assume that he's one of these frauditor, loser scumbags that just wants to cause dissension in my camp. By the way, oh yeah, Mingo Wingo. I see the clown face, and I just assume that you're like an anti-De Castro guy. You know, the clown face kind of gives you away, bro. But anyways, if you want to reach out to BZ Watchdog and ask him a question, I have no problem in trying to answer it if it's legit and not just an attempt to try and cause trouble with Team MPE. So anyways, That's right, Mike Webb. So another thing that I want to get through the audience before we kick off the show to the main part of the show is that everybody, SWE Observer, by the way, guys, I'm a Swede, so jag talar inte svenska. Jag älskar dig, SWE Observer. SWE Observer is not only a supporter of Team MPE, but he's also a donor. And I really love the guy. I just wish that he was a paid member because I really like seeing his the private first class chevrons next to that Christian Swedish flag. It's just so beautiful. But whatever, somebody buy a freaking paid subscription for SWE Observer, for crying out loud. His country's been invaded by Islamic... Oh, well, I'm sorry. Strike that. Sorry, guys, I don't want to get into any trouble with the World Economic Forum. His country's been invaded by people that hate his religion and his way of life, thanks to the World Economic Forum, in my opinion, and in the opinion of many other people who believe in natural rights and natural law. So, SW Observer, thank you, brother. I really love you, man. Whenever I see that Swedish flag, it motivates the hell out of me. So, Gustavus Adolphus, brother, one of the best generals and kings in the history of the world, right? Copser 5150, brother. I'll be honest with you, man. I went to the gym today. I worked out at Powerhouse, and I can prove it. I've got an image of on my community channel of my FNP. And as well as me at the gym at Powerhouse. So I can prove that I was there. And once I was done, dude, I've been asleep this whole time, pretty much since I started the show. So forgive me, man. I'll check it out. And by the way, guys, I'm seeing that like 90% of the emails that I'm getting are going to my spam. So I'm starting to look in the spam first. So for whatever reason, Yahoo thinks all you guys are spammers. But, oh, you are a member. Oh, sorry, Swede. I just don't see the chevron. All right. I got you, bro. I got you. I just love it that Europeans speak better English than most Americans. It blows my mind. Absolutely blows my mind. Remember, most of our founding fathers spoke 6 to 7 different languages. And with our public education system, they even eliminated cursive. So you can't even read your founding documents anymore. These young kids don't have any idea how to read our founding documents. Think about that. Is that by design? Why is that they're trying that as soon as we created the Department of Education under Jimmy Carter, the worst president in the country besides probably Obama, and after that would be Sleepy Joe, decided they wanted to just make us stupid. And now we're at like 120 in education. And when we had classical education in this country, we were number 1 in the world. Really weird. Why is that our government wants people stupid? Because if the government wanted us intelligent, they would just turn it back over to we the people, the parents. Homeschool, right? Homeschool, homestead. They wouldn't want the government like some administrative status raising our kids, right? Rearing our children. So who speaks Americana anymore? I don't know. Rodriguez. I love that name. Rodriguez. That's pretty dope. You remind me of a buddy of mine. By the way, guys, buy as much gold and silver as you can because the economy is going to collapse pretty soon. And it might be your opportunity to actually be able to afford a home. That's just a little tip from Tom Wu. Come to my seminar. All right. So it looks like we're getting close to the original production time. It's at like 4:51. So, okay. So the show tonight is going to be about what happened with Daniel Penny, a fellow Marine. Never met the guy. I've got no skin in the game other than the fact that he's a brother, so I'm going to support him. And he ended up choking out and taking the life of this dude named Jordan Neely. And Jordan Neely's claim to fame is that he was black, and that's the main thing that he's got going for him as far as his defense. And other than that, he had an extensive criminal record, primarily involving offensive related to homelessness and criminal and mental health issues. And that's a problem that I always have had with Ronald Reagan, because I do believe we should have a social safety net. I believe that it's been abused, but I believe that like releasing everyone from the mental homes and whatnot caused a lot of problems. I believe that there are a lot of people who are sick. I believe with proper nutrition and the government encouraging a 2-parent family and not telling people that if they want to collect welfare, the man can't be in the home, because as soon as a son or a daughter doesn't have a father at home, I like about a 90% more likelihood of ending up in prison and just being an idiot, because a strong father is what makes a family strong. Give me a bunch of ones if you agree, because I know it's true. And anybody who denies that obviously went to Harvard or Columbia University, and they've just been brainwashed by some Marxist scumbag. But that's not us at Team MPE, because we love our country first. So he had been arrested about 42 times between 2013 and 2021. He had 4 counts of alleged assault, numerous instances of transit fraud. You know, one of these guys that went on the subway and tried to pretend like he was Michael Jackson, and when people wouldn't pay him, he flipped out, tried to attack him, allegedly. All right. So he had an active warrant at the time of this, the choking incident, for an assault against in 2021, where he assaulted a 67-year-old woman as she exited a subway station, resulting in her sustaining a broken nose and a fractured orbital bone. All right. So this is the guy that Penny tried to protect train passengers from, allegedly. I want to say allegedly because I'm a lawyer and I want to pretend like I'm being impartial, because after all, Daniel Penny is one of my guys. Right. So you guys understand. Many of his arrests were for lower level offenses like jumping subway turnstiles, having an open container of alcohol. So the guy was obviously drinking all the time, allegedly, and disorderly conduct. Of course, BLM says that that's all just racist and made up, but I disagree with that. But we'll get into that. Neely also had a history of mental illness, which was a factor in his interactions with law enforcement, including his criminal record, which was a real problem. But you know, in New York, they support under the new Soros prosecutor system. The only thing that really matters is revenge, right? So if you're a white guy, they want to lock you up. But if you're anybody else, no matter what you did, it doesn't matter, because you're just a victim of racism. And that's basically what a lot of people are saying, what happens in New York. So, right. So now there is no verdict, cops. So just so you understand, what ended up happening is there was a Orale pues Rodriguez chingon. So there was a deadlock. And so what the judge did is he dismissed the larger charge against Penny, because the jury wasn't going to rule. They were not going to find against him, obviously. There would have been a hung jury, and then it would have had to have been retried. Now, originally, honestly, this charge would have never been brought in any other state but the leftist commie New York. That's the first thing I want to make you understand. Because in America, defense of others is a defense. So this dude was terrifying women and other people who are weaklings, who are too terrified to stand up for themselves. But Daniel Penny, being a Marine, jumped into action and immediately used his jiu-jitsu skills and got this guy in a rear naked choke. And there were all these other train passengers standing around, helping him after he jumped into action. But since he's a white guy, automatically BLM and everyone's saying, oh, it's because of racism, right? Because that's all they can do, right? That's what they're all about, is they want to separate everybody by race, which is crazy to me. Because the best Marines that I served with, I'll be honest, were the black dudes. They were physically, they clobbered everybody, and they were just good Marines, man. I don't know what this whole race thing is all about. The only time I ever hear about race is every time I hear a Democrat open their mouth. Give me a bunch of ones if you agree. So let's get into what happened, and I'll let the first video speak for itself, and I'll let you guys decide. And I'll play a far left news channel, so you can get the ABC communist perspective.
in New York City has been dismissed. The top charge has been dismissed of second-degree manslaughter at the request of prosecutors. All of this after jurors reported that they were deadlocked on the second-degree manslaughter charge. They sent a second note repeating that they cannot come to a unanimous conclusion on the count. Penny is also charged with negligent homicide in the death of street performer Jordan Neely. Police say the former Marine put Neely in a 6-minute-long chokehold after Neely boarded a subway car and acted erratically and screamed at passengers. Joining me now is ABC News legal contributor and trial attorney Brian Buckmeyer. So, Brian, what's your initial take on all of this, and just how surprising is this?
So, obviously, Brian is a far-left woke trial attorney, obviously, right? Otherwise, he wouldn't be on ABC. But I like hearing what he has to say because I like to let the far left have their say, which is about 99% of the news media, right? And then you guys can listen to other people too.
I'm shocked. This is very surprising. Whether you're talking about the dismissal of the top charge from the prosecutor, that's a very rare move and a very big move, because if the prosecutor had not moved to dismiss that charge and it stayed as a hung jury, they would have the opportunity to retry that case later. Dismissing it now means it's gone forever. So it's a very big move by the prosecutor. And then the judge even himself saying, I'm not really sure if this is appropriate or I have the power to do so, but bringing them back for another week, because we're now going to come back on Monday to deliberate on this. There are so many appellate issues and so many even just trial issues that I think Daniel Penny is really doing well for himself, where maybe a day ago he's a little bit more worried.
So, Brian, you called this extremely surprising. Why do you think this decision was made then?
So, in my opinion, I think that this is, by the jury, a compromise verdict. And the judge themselves said they did not want that. And what I mean by that is it's peculiar to look at a case like this with the facts that you have and say that you are hung on the idea of Daniel Penny being reckless, but you are still considering him being negligent. If you're making a distinction between the two, that means you, to some degree, don't believe it's self-defense. Because if you believed it was self-defense, it would negate both of those charges. So the question becomes, why do you think he was not reckless, but think that he's potentially negligent? It doesn't legally make sense. The only thing that makes sense is they're trying to kind of, for lack of a better term, split the baby and compromise.
Okay, so the top charge is dismissed. What do you think this means in terms of deliberations and the lesser charge we're talking about?
So again, coming from a standpoint where I truly think that this is a compromise within the jury, I think come back Monday, these juries are going to have a conversation of, okay, we read the instructions and it told us not to go to criminal negligent homicide if we couldn't decide on manslaughter. Now that's gone, let's focus on this. And I think there might be a conversation of compromise that we couldn't come to this conclusion, so let's look at criminal negligent homicide, and I think there could be a verdict there. But that's a much lesser case. That's an E felony, punishable by up to 4 years in prison. But Daniel Penny could get probation.
Now, this is a case that has gained national attention. It's been especially polarizing for residents of New York City. Can you just talk a bit about the kinds of questions that you think these jurors are wrestling with and what's been causing this deadlock?
I think even bigger than the case itself is just the idea of self-defense. I mean, I was a practicing public defender in Brooklyn for about 8.5 years, and I think the idea of self-defense, especially when someone dies, is a very heavy one, because we all, I think, internally believe that killing someone else is a bad thing to do.
It's a bad thing.
But then the law allows for a legal excuse under very serious circumstances. And so trying to draw that line as to when that's allowed is big. And then put on top of that, the New York City subway system, where people with mental health and substance abuse can see everyday people who are not suffering from those episodes at that point in time.
Motivated right now. Look at that guy. You can tell he's a Marine by the way he
people
walks.
Asking questions of, should I step in and help? Should I look away? What happens if I do step in and help and I go too far? What could happen to me? And I think wrestling with all those questions and there's the general idea of this case is very big for not only the city, but the country.
Yeah, Brian, major questions there. And I want to bring into our conversation ABC News senior investigative correspondent Aaron Katursky, who is live for us outside of the courthouse. Aaron, give us an update. What is going on from the court?
Well, the judge has agreed with the prosecutors to dismiss the manslaughter charge that Daniel Penny had been facing. That was the most serious count, facing up to 15 years in prison. That manslaughter charge has now been dismissed after the jury signaled it could not reach a unanimous verdict. The judge instructed the jury to go home for the weekend, come back on Monday, and resume deliberating on a lesser charge of negligent homicide. This exposes Daniel Penny to maybe 4 or 5 years in prison at the most. over the death of Jordan Neely, and the standard for conviction isn't
Obviously
the
Summer.
standard's
He's a
the same
freaking
beyond a
Marine.
reasonable doubt, but clearly the elements of the charge
Took an
are
oath.
slightly different. The jury still must decide of whether Daniel Penny was justified in using the force that he did. This is a politically charged, emotional case. The jury was unable to reach the verdict, but the prosecutors were adamant that they had to follow through with both counts. So they will return here on Monday and deliberate the charge of negligent homicide.
And Aaron, what is the prosecution saying right now?
Say that one more time.
What is the prosecution saying?
Well, the prosecutors wanted to make sure that the jury continued with its deliberations and was willing to dismiss the manslaughter charge so that it could, I would imagine, try Penny again if he were to be acquitted, if there was a hung jury on both counts. You can only bring a case again if there's a hung jury on all the charges in the indictment. So if the judge had declared a mistrial now, leaving open the question of negligent homicide, that the prosecutors would not have been able to revisit the case should that become necessary. So this preserves an option for prosecutors if the jury comes back hung on the negligent homicide count.
Aaron, thank you for joining us live from the courthouse. And Brian, one more question to you. You heard Aaron there. He talked about this being an emotionally charged case. Can you talk about the implications of the ultimate decision that's made here? And could it affect people's behavior? You talked about such big questions that people wrestle with in this case in terms of, hero or villain when it comes to Daniel Penny. Are people going to want to intervene when they see something like this?
Nope.
So
it's going to scare the shit out of
from my
them.
background of being a public defender and a defense attorney in the city for about a decade now, and maybe I'm a little
They're
bit
just going to let
jaded,
people die.
But I think that we're going to talk about this for a few more weeks or months, and people will kind of have that thought. But from what I've seen of the city, there are reasons why there are first responders, people who join the military, people who are officers and paramedics. There are innately people who are going to run to danger and run to difficult situations to help
He's
people.
right.
And I think that's going to innately happen all the time.
Starting to like this
I don't think they're going to stop and think, what about Daniel Penny? So I think it's still going to occur, but I think there's going to be a conversation of when those people do jump in to try to help and maybe go too far or something wrong.
What's going to happen, let me explain to you what's really going to happen, because we don't need to even let him finish. What's going to happen is people like me are going to flee states like New York or California, where George Soros has embedded all of his communist buddies into all of the prosecutorial agencies. We're going to move to states where we have the right to defend our families and our neighbors. And I saw some comments. I know Mike Webb made a comment that you take an oath to obey orders, yada, yada, yada. But at least in the Marine Corps, like I joined the Marine Corps because I wanted to defend and protect the Constitution of the United States. I grew up reading John Locke. My dad always had me reading educational material from our founding fathers. That's how I learned about Thomas Aquinas. I read all of Blackstone's commentaries on the English law. I would have never obeyed an order to fire on the American people because I understood that we're not even supposed to be allowed to cross the Rubicon. Research the history of Rome and you'll understand a little bit about what our founding fathers were trying to achieve. I would have never marched with Caesar. So, and they did until the woke military came along. Now the woke military, like 90% of those guys would fire on the American people, but the people that I grew up with who understood the history of the Constitution and what our real role was as Americans, like over 80%, like based on the polls that I saw, would never fire on an American. So think about that, like from my generation, because we understood that the Constitution was about protecting and defending from all enemies, foreign and domestic, but we understood that the only real domestic potential enemy was the government. That's why they want to take away your guns, guys, because they don't want you to have the ability to resist. So we can talk about that on another day. Now, Rod says ex-Marine versus a very weak, hungry and weak guy. Maybe, but, he has a history of, so Neely has a history of, let me see here, assault for attacking a 67-year-old woman and breaking her nose and fracturing her orbital bone, 4 counts of assault, transit fraud, and criminal trespass. I mean, I don't know, man. Like, I think based upon the actual people who were on the train, their statements, where the dude was a psychopath and people were terrified, and Penny was the only one with enough balls to try and stop him. Now, I think that here's the problem with Marines, all right? Nobody can accuse us of being the most intelligent people, okay? So I have a background in judo and BJJ, and I know that if I put someone in a rear naked, I'm going to be honest. I mean, I'm not trying to like put down Daniel or try to get him like, convicted. But I know that when you cut someone's oxygen off for a certain amount of time, that, yeah, you're going to end up killing the guy because he's not going to be able to breathe. But at the same token, Penny had all these people standing around him, grabbing this dude's arms and like checking. Like, so in his mind, he's thinking, okay, he's freaked out, because he's like, if any of you have ever, first of all, I would say probably 90% of the people in my channel have never been in a real fight. And the stress and excitement of a real fight is just unbelievable. Like, it is just, I can't even explain it. Like, fights that I've been in, I didn't even feel pain with a broken nose, torn tendons for like 3 or 4 days after the fight from the adrenaline and the excitement. So the problem is most jurors, they don't ever hear about that. They don't understand what it like is really about. And I've never been in combat, but my friends who are Marines and Navy SEALs who have been in combat have told me like they didn't even know like they had an injury for like a year later. Just because they couldn't even sleep for like a year because they took life. And so I just want you guys to understand that like you're looking at things like PMSNBC or a Communist News Network would. But he thought that he was doing the right thing. And yeah, unless you're on the mats every day, which are not in the Marine Corps, you're taught to fight as a unit. And we do mat work and we do ground fighting, but it's not like as intense as you would think. I'll be honest with you, it's just not. It's not like UFC guys. Like a typical UFC guy could clobber any Marine in 3 or 4 seconds flat. Because that's not what our mission is. Our mission is to fight as a unit. So it's totally different than what a Soros prosecutor is going to present to a jury. So the problem is a lack of education. And Van Jackson, I'm not saying that Marines are dumb by any stretch of the imagination, because I am one. But what I am saying is that like a typical infantry Marine is a lot dumber than your typical dude like me. Like when I was in like School of Infantry and MCT. By the way, like a lot of guys are like want to make me into a Kennedy case. I hate doing this, but in '89, when I got out of platoon 2023 in MCRD San Diego, it was the first or second series that went through both MCT, and if you were an 03, you had to go to MCT. Modernly, Marine 03s don't have to go to MCT. And then you had to go to School of Infantry. And now I think they call it Infantry Training Regiment or something else. But back then it was called SOI, School of Infantry. So we had to go to MCT and SOI, just so you guys know. Okay, so I don't want you to think that I'm like trying to do some kind of stolen valor thing or something. I'm just proud to have served in the Corps. I got boarded out after SOI, so I never made it to the full fleet. But you can Google it. You can clearly see, that I was one of the first series that actually had to do that. So, but I was Charlie Company SOI, and my executive officer was Captain Hacker. I still remember him. That's why I have a hard time with this Kennedy guy. He doesn't remember names and stuff. I don't believe the guy. Anyways, so yeah, Van Jackson. I'm not saying Marines are dumb, because I am one, and I think Marines are smart because they want to protect their fellow man and they're trying to serve. And they're part of the only service that's authorized under the Constitution to not have to be reauthorized every 2 years. And we can get into that in another show. Rodriguez, I chicken out enlisting in my time. That's fine, bro. Why would you want to serve a country that just wants to support the military industrial complex? Take a look at Smedley Butler's books. Smedley Butler, another Marine. It's another thing I love about Marines is like we don't trust politicians. We're totally different than the other branches. Anyways, so you got to see what the far left commie ABC had to say. So let's get into a little bit about what's going on X, which is probably going to be more like the middle of the road, typical normal American, right? Where they have voter ID, right? Wherever you have voter ID, this is what you're going to get. Where you don't have voter ID, you're going to get ABC and CNN. So what they're saying is that the left says a career criminal who committed 11 years worth of crimes was pardoned by a corrupt Democrat. The right says a citizen hero who saves lives is still on trial by corrupt Democrats. This is what quote unquote justice looks like when Democrats are in power. And that is Sleepy Joe's son. And we've seen images of him with like little kids in lingerie and stuff like that. We know that his dad got a Ukrainian prosecutor fired who was trying to expose a money laundering scheme. And CNN and ABC covered all that up. And they got a bunch of retired and active CIA agents to say that, oh, this is just a Russian conspiracy. Trump is a Russian agent, all that. But in reality, you know, I think most of us realize now it's just a money laundering scheme for the military-industrial complex to make money. And then, here we go. Daniel Penny, 24. This is from a guy named End Wokeness, who I follow over at Twitter. He says, Daniel Penny, 24, put a homeless felon in a fatal chokehold to stop him from attacking people on a New York train. Bail $200,000. Appeal rejected. Jordan Williams. So they're kind of like doing what BLM's doing. They're comparing black to white, white to black. 20, stabbed and killed a homeless man to stop him from attacking people on his New York train. Bail $0. So Jordan Williams, black dude, basically, you know, killed the dude with a knife because he was attacking people. Nothing happened to him, and the white people are saying that it's because he was black. And then the woke leftists over here are saying Daniel Penny, you know, should go to prison for life because he put a guy in a chokehold trying to protect them from people on the train. And so that's kind of what's going on. By the way, make sure to donate to Lane Meyers. That's on my Twitter channel. Okay, now, so let's let BLM say what they need to say. Hopefully you guys are in a mood to listen. Here we go.
Most likely go free.
Hold on.
The co-founder of Black Lives Matter Greater New York. I stand here heartbroken because I have to hug a father who knows that the murderer of his son will most likely go free. Who has to look in the face of a jury that no matter the facts, no matter the expert witnesses, no matter the people yelling on that train that day to let Jordan go, you will kill him. They will not find a white man guilty of killing a black man in modern day America. This is no different than Jim Crow. This looks like a picture out of the picture book when you look at that anonymous jury. We have baby boomers who were there doing Jim Crow on this jury. We have young people who are looking at Daniel Penny as a hero. And what America is a hero, a killer. He didn't give a crap about Jordan. The medical examiner said Jordan turned purple. Yes, black people can turn purple when they are denied oxygen. Every lab report showed he died of asphyxiation. And that doesn't matter because they want to spare a white man the penalty of his crimes. America has not changed, and I hate to say it, it may never change. And people who keep asking, are we going to riot? Are we going to protest? Is that what's needed? Do glass have to break? Do cars have to burn for a black man to get justice in America? We can't show up with peace. We can't show up with facts. We can't show up with evidence and witness after witness. You give us nothing. And then you ask us to love this country. America hates black people, and we see it from that jury pool.
A black man was lynched, and his name was Jordan Neely.
All right, so you got to see the two sides. You got, I hate to say it, but I hate the whole racial thing because we're all human beings. We're all God's children, but BLM just hates white people, and they think that anybody who won't automatically lock up a white guy for trying to protect train passengers is automatically a racist white guy. And then you have like the anti-woke crowd, who a lot of them are just normal people, but a lot of them just don't like black people, saying that, well, black people are getting off all the time for doing the same thing, and I showed you an example of that. So you guys can make up your mind. The bottom line is that the main manslaughter charge was just dismissed against Daniel Penny, and now the jury is deliberating over the negligent homicide charge. And so that's going to be based upon a reasonable person standard. And I've talked to you guys about the reasonable person standard in the past. It's just a legal standard. What would a reasonable person do in this situation? Yes, in this case, Daniel Penny, he was a Marine. He was trained in ground fighting, but not like me or Chili DeCastro. Good seeing you, Chili, by the way. Thanks for joining the show. I love it when Chili comes on, because sometimes he kind of checks me a little bit because he's more anti. Look, I'm going to support Marines, man, because I'm one of them. But, so he kind of checks me, and I'm one of these guys who's willing to take the check. And he's also a wrestler, so he understands the whole ground game. And this was a jiu-jitsu move. Penny put him in a jits hold. But Penny had all these other people around him, like holding the arms of the victim. Not the victim, but the attacker. This guy was attacking train passengers, and this guy was acting himself, trying to defend other people on the train. And so defense of others is a absolute defense to homicide, to murder, all right? So homicide is legal depending on what it is, but it can approach the level of murder, just so you guys understand. I just want you to understand the legal difference. So homicide is a killing of another person. Murder is the unjustified killing of another person. I just want you to see the nuance, all right? Hopefully Chili's still here, because usually this dude pops in for 3 seconds and I never see him again, but I'm going to put him up here. Good seeing you too, brother. Give me a bunch of ones for Delete Laws. Make sure to like and subscribe to Chili's channel over at Delete Laws and support him. Good guy. He's the reason I got my start here doing this stuff. Hit that like and subscribe button. Yeah, do it. And Tiffany, I'm so glad to see you, and I definitely appreciate all the different perspectives that everybody has to say. Obviously, I'm going to support Penny because I think that this dude was a complete scumbag, that, he's been arrested 42 times for attacking people and stuff on the subway, terrifying people, punched a 67-year-old woman and busted her nose and fractured her orbital bone. I mean, when's it going to stop? And I blame the government. Like, why didn't they lock this guy up? I do believe there is a function for peace officers to put people like Jordan Neely in prison or in a mental institution, not just keep letting him out. I mean, that's crazy. I mean, Daniel Penny would have never had to jump into action if Jordan Neely had been locked up. Give me a bunch of ones if you agree, because that's what I feel. All right. So let's get into, so we watched the leftist version. We took a look at, never mind. What do you guys think? Who would win in a revolution? The West, the Midwest? Hold on. The West, the Midwest, the Northeast, or the South, if there was a revolution? Tell me what you think. Who do you think would win in a violent revolution? Why do you think the government, the Northeastern leftists, want to disarm the South so bad? I wonder why. Anyways, I just was hoping you guys would. Blackman already knows. I love your name too, Blackman. That's pretty cool. Looked like you got some magic shave on too, homie. It's hilarious. All right, so now in my time of doing these videos, I ran into this dude. He's like a retired cop, and he's got some really, really cool stuff to say about the Daniel Penny case. I have to make a really quick head call because, as you guys know, I'm not 19 anymore. So I'm gonna play his video a little bit. And obviously, Chili already left the building. Chili the cat, Elvis has left the building because he would have already piped in. But who doesn't hate Maine Forest? You know, all the non-voter ID states, they suck. I mean, why don't you have voter ID? I wonder, right? Like, with no voter ID, you can just flood your state with illegal aliens, register them to vote at the DMV, and then your corrupt political party could stay in power forever. And you could become just like communist China, just like the same people who give money to those states and those governors. Do some research on Charlie Tree and the Clinton administration. You'll see what happened to our country. Communist Chinese have a stranglehold on a certain political party. So anyways, let me just go ahead and play this for you, and I'm going to make a quick head call. But I'm going to go on this guy's show at some point, because some of the things I agree with him about, other things I don't. He's tried to get me on his show once before. Let's just go ahead and watch it.
Now imagine for a second, I know I'm going to ask you to suspend your disbelief here for a moment and just play along with me, but imagine a world where the police are actually on the side of the citizen. I'm going to tell you, it's a fantasy. It's gone. The police in totality, and I don't care who keeps saying, well, it's just a few bad apples. No, the entire system is corrupt. And what we have seen since the lockdowns over the last several years is cops will choose the paycheck when enforced by policy, as told to them by the politicians. The police are the armed thug henchmen of the government, and it's disgusting and it's embarrassing, and honestly, it's heartbreaking. We've seen that all the way from cops who will arrest mothers for letting their 10-year-olds walk to the grocery store alone because these cops have nothing better to do. We see fat, out of shape, uneducated cops they have no clue what the First Amendment is on traffic stops. We see an angry mob of citizens who love to see cops administer punishment and discipline on the street because that's what they think that they're there for. And we have a horde of henchmen who forgot what the fuck that their job is, right? By now, if you're not familiar with the Daniel Penny case over in New York, let me explain to you how, once again, the police, they are the razor thin blue line that could save America or destroy it. And the only reason right now that they have any authority is because law-abiding citizens are terrified of the repercussion of violence that the police have the authority to dish out on them. And criminals just don't give a shit because they know they get away with murder, literally. Daniel Penny case, I'm going to play this video. This is a 22-second clip of what happened in May of last year. Subject, Jordan Neely, was unruly and provokingly violent on a subway, threw his coat off, stated that he wasn't afraid to die, wasn't afraid to go back to jail. He was unemployed. He was erratic. If you look at the concept of the pattern recognition when it comes down to criminal behavior in Democrat cities like Chicago, New York, on their blue line, red line, if you're out here in Chicago, I don't know how to say this. You started saying it. You know that if you have this crazy criminal element, which happens to be the neglected black community, which has been just farmed out into perpetual slavery by the Democrat leadership in that city, you know these people are not safe. You're not safe around them. And I'm tired of pattern recognition not being a thing that we actually look at and say, we could change criminality if we are only allowed to talk about the realities of race in the correlation with culture and crimes. But we need to play this 22-second video of a bystander, Daniel Penny, who is a former Marine and an architect who stepped in and put this guy in what's called a chokehold.
You might jump on his own street and put him on the back. He's on the side, man.
So really quickly, here's what we have. We have what's called a chokehold, a rear naked choke. Now, for those who are wondering about my background, I'm tactically trained. I'm a former high school and minimal college wrestler. I am a current wrestling coach. I've been teaching an art called Wing Chun for 30 years. I'm a police defensive tactics expert. The rear naked choke is, in my opinion, the safest tactical maneuver in the history of all martial arts to take somebody into custody, especially by somebody who has been trained. Now, I'm setting this all up for a reason because I don't want you to think about the bias of why Penny's on trial, but who should be on trial instead. And to be honest, the police need to be on trial. So when it comes down to the rear naked choke, what Penny was taken into custody for was manslaughter, right? That's the charge. And I'm going to get into the pattern or the sequence of how that happened. You have two methodologies of causing damage, if you will, on a person. That's either the blood flow on the sides, which is the carotid arteries, it supplies blood to your brain, or the windpipe. The windpipe, which cuts off the air supply, is what they talked about with Dr. Michael Baden, who was from HBO's Autopsy. And then he was very famous once again for talking about the Eric Garner case, who was killed by a chokehold by police. It all boils down to two things when you talk about the rear naked choke: pressure and duration of the tactic. That's it. I want to play really quickly. This is a video of me being put in a rear naked choke by a man named Alex Embry. Alex Embry is a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt. He's also police command up here in the northwest suburbs of Illinois. And we wanted to talk about this. Was right after the Eric Gardner case about how the rear naked choke works. And this is just me getting choked out. And you can see how quickly it took me to choke me out and how long I was out for.
All right, let's see what happens. Let's see how many times I can say I can't breathe before I go to sleep.
Dom, are you ready?
Yep.
I can't.
Can't talk.
Hey, Dom?
Yes, sir.
There you go. How you feel?
Wow.
I got put out in 3 seconds, and I think I was out for about 11 seconds there, and it was extremely effective. The first time I ever been choked out, the room, that was my...
So just so you guys know, like in the Marine Corps, we're not trained like that. It's so because of my background and experience in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and Judo, I know that I know as soon as I start feeling the body go limp, the guy's done. But Penny is like a guy who was like an unemployed, inactive Marine, and he just was doing what he was trained to do, which unfortunately isn't like somebody with my training or Chili DeCastro's training. I just want you guys to understand something. Like, he just thought he was protecting fellow passengers on the train, and it's up to the jury to decide whether or not he was negligent in letting that guy pass away. Now, in his defense, the guy whose life he took was a multiple criminal, punching people in the face on the subway, causing a lot of trouble, trying to hurt old ladies, throw them onto the train tracks kind of a guy. And people were terrified. And Penny, being a Marine, he jumped into action because that's what we're trained to do, to run to the sound of the gunfire. So our government trains us to be savages, and that's what he did. So to me, like, this guy's saying the police are the enemy, maybe, but I think that it's really just, if you're going to train someone to be a killer, you also need to train them how to de-escalate. So that's just my personal opinion. But it had nothing to do with self-defense. It's defense of others, and he was defending other people on the train because they're all weaklings. And most Marines know 99% of the population are weaklings, and they'll just let people attack them and hurt them because they're like deer in the headlights. But we're trained differently. We're trained to run to the sound of the gunfire and cause as much havoc and damage to the enemy as possible. And that's just how we're trained. So I just have some issues there. Now, I did drop the link to this cop, so you could take a look at him. He's asked me to come on his channel a bunch of times, but just out of respect for Chili, because Chili doesn't like him, I've never gone on his show. But a lot of the things that the guy has to say make sense to me. This, what's his name? What's this guy's name? Hold on a minute. Officer Dominic Izzo. Frank Rizzo here. Frank Rizzo. It reminds me of the Jerky Boys. But yeah. So the only reason I never went on your show, Dominic, is because Chili just doesn't like you, dude. And Chili's my bro. But both you guys have a wrestling background, but I'm sure Chili wouldn't have a problem if I came on your show. By the way, guys, all the nonsense comments you guys are making about, like, I'm submissive to this, to other people, it's just bullshit. it's called respect. You know, when you care about someone and when they've been locked up and illegally, unlawfully, like your buddy, you're gonna heed to them because you're a friend. That's all. So that's it. Anyways, so do you guys have any questions for me about? Do you guys have, right? I got you, Cops are 5150. Do you guys? Yeah, and I see like he's trying to say. So the problem that I have also, Dominic, is you're like saying, "Oh, the police are the enemy." Like when you've always been pro law enforcement, and it makes me think like you're chasing clicks and likes and stuff. And I never set up my channel for that. I did it because my friend got thrown in jail, and that's why I do these shows, because you guys told me to keep coming back. If you guys don't want me to come back, I'll stop, because I can make way more money. Like right now, if I had spent the last, how long, hour and 15 minutes working on a case, I potentially could have generated thousands of dollars for my family. You're never going to find lawyers that do what I do, guys. I'm doing this because you asked me to come back, because I was one of you. I was lower than you. I was sleeping on park benches trying to find a way to become a lawyer with no law degree. So, you know, keep that in mind. Like, if you don't want me to come back on, give me a vote and I'll just close down my channel. But I just feel like you guys just don't get good information. So it kind of freaks me out. Oh, thanks, Gloria. I haven't seen Gloria forever. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I appreciate that. It means a lot to me. Like, Gloria is one of Chili's like really super loyal supporters. And I've never tried to like steal his thunder or anything like that. Like, there's something you got to understand about me, guys. When somebody gives me an opportunity, I'm not a scumbag. Like, I'm going to support my brothers and sisters, period. Because that's what you do as a real man. You don't try to like displace them. That's not the way you do it. Anyway, so we've got, thanks, Blackman. And I appreciate that. Blackman says, I'm now here, but I like the show. Well, that's cool, Blackman 903. You got to get rid of that freaking magic shave off of your beard, dude. I'm kidding, brother. I'm just joking around. Like, I honestly, dude, I don't have any issues. I don't have any, I don't see, I disagree with the left. Like, I don't think there's such a thing as black or white. I just don't. I think we're all Americans. And we're all humans. And we're all God's children. And these assholes who try to separate us by race and politics, you guys are the enemy. The banksters are the enemy. Buy as much gold and silver as you can, guys, by the way. And that's what I recommend you do. And thanks, Gloria. I appreciate you saying that. That means a lot, because I know you're a really genuine person, Gloria Ad. And that means a lot to me. I never thought that I was going to be doing these YouTube shows. I'm sure it's causing a lot of problems for me with the administrative state. But that's right, Robert. That's right, brother. We're all just Americans, and the people who try to separate us by race and all that crap, they're the enemy of the American people. And that's going to be CNN, PMS, NBC, and to a lesser degree Fox. But when you understand that the people who own Fox News also own the New York Times, communist New York Times, you'll understand that you're being manipulated. It's all just a big manipulation. Stop watching the for-profit media, guys. If you meet a guy like me who's willing to come on here for no money, and maybe once in a while you'll send me a car accident case, which will support my family, I'm happy. But it doesn't mean that I'm going to change my viewpoint. And they will. If a big pharma company gives them a bunch of money, they'll change their viewpoint like that. And they'll even use their social media company to silence you and shut down your YouTube channel if you say anything about it. So think about that. So Tiffany Dagley is another really awesome lady. Super, super appreciate her. Very spiritual woman. You can tell that she's driven, family-oriented, the kind of people that I want on my channel, because I think we should be reproducing and having as many kids as possible. All right, so that being said, we've been on for about an hour and 19 minutes, and I didn't even want to go this long. So let's now get into what's going on with, I want to delete all these other ones. Hold on a minute, guys. Bear with me. Let's get into what's going on in Pasco. Stand by. Platoon. Oh, 10. Here we go. Here we go, guys.
This is, in so many words, an admission that this program never should have been implemented. It's a guarantee that this program will never be implemented again. This is, in so many words, an admission that this program never should have been implemented, and it is a guarantee that this program will never be implemented again.
Tonight, the Pasco County Sheriff's Office has reached a settlement in its controversial intelligence-led policing program.
Yeah, for more than 3 years, Sheriff Chris Nacco.
This is, in so many words, an admission that this program never should have been implemented.
That's not happening. Let's see what's going on over here.
Law. Here's Steve Leto.
I got a press release the other day, as did many of my viewers, from the Institute for Justice. And this is good news. And you have to understand that, you hear people...
I'm going to play this from the beginning. This is Steve Leto. I'm always taking a risk, like sharing stuff from other people because they may try to strike me. But I really like Steve. And I think Steve is one of these down-to-earth dudes. I think he drives like a Viper, like an older model Viper. He just kind of reminds me of me. Probably a, northeastern liberal, but I don't really give a crap, man. I like what he has to say. Let's watch him.
Welcome once again to Leto's Law. Here's Steve Leto.
I got a press release the other day, as did many of my viewers, from the Institute for Justice. And this is good news. And you have to understand that, you hear people say, I'm going to take this case all the way to the Supreme Court. And a lot of cases could never get to the Supreme Court because they settle. Or it happens to work out at a lower stage where somebody says, okay, fine, we're done with this. And they walk away from the litigation. So here, a big victory when a case was on the verge of trial. So this is from the press release from the Institute for Justice. Scott Bullock sent this, and it has to do with Pasco County. And Pasco County in Florida had this bizarre operation where the police were doing what they called predictive policing. And if you've seen that movie Minority Report, you know that one of the themes in it was that they could, in the future, predict who is going to commit a crime and then do something about it before they committed the crime. Wouldn't that be great if we could stop all crime before it happened? And of course, that is a science fiction film, not a documentary. Scott Bullock writes, "'Tis the season for stopping dystopian government programs. Just yesterday, we ended Pasco County, Florida's horrible predictive policing system. This victory is a testament to the importance of your steadfast support as we put together a path-breaking but complicated case to halt what was once considered a cutting-edge police tool. IJ launched this case back in 21. After 3 years of gathering devastating evidence, we were finally ready to put the program on trial, literally, which was scheduled to begin yesterday. And among the evidence they had was body cam footage, depositions, hearings, preliminary arguments. They were on the verge of trial. You may recall this program bore more than a passing resemblance to the film Minority Report. The sheriff's office used arbitrary criteria combined with a supposedly sophisticated algorithm to predict which people in the community, including local teenagers, might.
So really quickly, I gotta tell you guys something, because my background also is as a webmaster. So I was one of these guys who figured out Google's algorithm and got a ton of cases off of Google. And you got to understand something. It's the people who program the algorithm. The people who program the algorithm, that's what matters. And if they are your enemy, they will program the enemy to attack you. So let's just keep listening to Steve, because this just blows my mind. Because so many judges and juries, oh, well, it's an algorithm, so clearly it has no mind of its own. It's just an no. It was programmed by a creator, just like our God created us, right? To know right from wrong and to know good from evil. Same thing. So if the algorithm is programmed to target a certain segment of the population, and then they'll claim, oh, it's a trade secret, we can't tell you about the algorithm. It's a trade secret. You're not allowed to know. But yet this is what you get. Let's just keep listening to Steve. It's unbelievable.
commit future crimes. Police then harassed individuals and families by going to their homes unannounced, sometimes multiple times a week, to interrogate them. And if people felt families weren't sufficiently cooperative, they would issue citations for harmless code violations, just to keep them on their toes. The IJ case team was on the ground in Florida preparing when Pasco capitulated on the eve of trial. The sheriff's office not only agreed to end the program, they also admitted that they violated the Fourth Amendment by visiting clients' property repeatedly without cause. They admitted they violated the First Amendment by enforcing guilt by association, and they admitted they violated due process rights by putting people on a government list without adequate procedures. And so if you just think about this, you go, well, suppose I'm in charge of fighting crime in this community. Where's most of the crime going to probably occur? Well, over here we got a lot of crime. Okay, so who's over here? Okay, these people are over here. So if there's going to be crime over here and these people are over here, these people are probably going to commit a crime. That's not actually how you fight crime. Okay? So we also made sure the agreement to end this program is enforceable by the court. So if there's any backsliding by the sheriff, we can go right back to the judge. They agreed to a 6-figure payment to the clients who were injured by this for at least a measure of compensation for what they had to endure. So this is important. A lot of times a lawsuit will settle, a case will settle, whatever. And you settle it, you put it on the record, probably sign some documents, submit them to the court, and then you submit a dismissal to the court, and the court then takes the file, literally, closes it, and sends it back down to the clerk's office because this file is closed. Put it into deep storage. And they've said that they actually entered into an agreement, which apparently the court agrees with, saying this might need oversight by a court somewhere down the road just in case. So can we get the court to agree that if necessary, we can come back in here without filing a new action? And apparently they got that agreement put together. So as you know, many IJ cases are about stopping nationwide abuses, but some, as in Pasco, are about preventing unbelievably abusive things from becoming nationwide trends. As you can imagine, if Pasco had done anything with respect to the numbers, they said, hey, look, we got the crime numbers to go down a little bit. Other departments would say, hey, we're going to do that too. And of course, there might be people in the community going, well, if crime's going down, we're happy. Unless you're one of the people they've decided might be a future criminal. So the sheriff's office thought they were launching an innovative program, but of course it was systematically violating the Constitution. So if left unchallenged, the program probably would have spread. Other departments probably would have picked it up and said, hey, yeah, good idea. So no more. Because of your generous support, we were able to stop this dead in its tracks. Thank you for standing with us as we fight to protect freedom and hold government accountable. Together we can ensure that innovation does not undermine liberty, but advances it. And he signed it, Scott. And Scott, of course, is Scott G. Bullock, President and Chief Counsel of the Institute for Justice. And so, it's one of those things where I can see some people going, Steve, nowadays with computers and AI and all this other cool stuff, maybe they can kind of predict where crimes are going to occur.
It's bullshit.
Right? Okay, let's suppose that I could figure something out and go, hey, that bank is going to get robbed tomorrow. Go stake out the bank. But you don't go, well, who's likely going to do that, though? Some people over here. Do you have any evidence of that? No. But an algorithm told me. That's going to be the new excuse. An algorithm ate my homework. They're going to say, no, algorithm told us that it was going to be these guys. No evidence. So here's the thing. If somebody is about to commit a crime, hypothetically.
Thanks, Life
but they haven't yet.
Appreciate it, man.
And you go to talk to them, unless they admit to you, I was about to go commit a crime. What can you accomplish by talking to them?
You can't.
Scaring them into not doing the crime? I suppose it's possible, but how would you ever prove that it worked?
Exactly.
Well, they didn't commit a crime.
He's right.
So let's suppose that you live in a town of, 20,000 people, and you go and talk to somebody about a crime that you thought they were going to commit, and they don't commit it. And you go, hey, there was no crime last night. It worked. What about the 19,999 people you didn't speak to? It's got so many problems. And don't get me wrong. I have some feelings for the police going, I wish they could do more to fight crime. I really do. I don't like crime. I want the police to succeed in catching the bad guys. I do. But the bad guys, by definition, are people who've done something bad. You're not a bad person if somewhere down the road you might do something bad. I mean, why don't we go out and predictively police at the bars and arrest future drunk drivers? Go, well, a guy's drinking, he's got a car out in the parking lot. Let's arrest him now. I mean, that would keep drunk drivers off the road. But, of course, we don't know if the guy's going to have a designated driver, call an Uber, could walk home.
That's right.
You know, and so you see where the abuse can come from. And it's interesting because on the eve of trial, they agreed to settle it. And, you know, quite often settlement agreements in general are kept secret and private and no one really knows what happened.
Now, that is true, but typically a settlement agreement against a public agency is never going to be private. All right? If there's a private actor involved, let me just share something with you guys. So this is kind of where I can shine and shed some light on things because this is what I do for a living. I am a PI lawyer. I do personal injury claims. And I sue police, and I sue the city all the time. A public settlement is almost never going to be confidential. Now, there could be some confidentiality when it comes to the parties, if there's a minor or something like that. But other than that, it's got to be public. And I'm going to tell you right now, this is just a total bullshit case. Like, they're literally getting like an algorithm created by people who probably already hate you, right? To determine whether or not you are someone who's going to commit a crime. So, well, if it's created by the police, who do you think it's going to target? Well, probably like the so-called white supremacists, as well as black people, right? Because remember, the intent of a municipal corporation is to raise money and raise revenue. That's their job. You don't even set up a municipal corporation until you know what the budget is going to be from the local law enforcement agency. That's something that people don't consider. I mean, people are so uneducated, and the public school system and the college system is just so leftist and pro-government that you're just never going to get the truth. So anyways, let's just keep listening and to what Steve's got to say. I really love Steve's channel. Legit dude. I've dropped the link in the sidebar. Please support Steve's channel. I really like the guy. I think it's cool that he never wears a suit and tie, too. Super cool. And I love it that he's got a Viper. One of the coolest cars ever. Give me a bunch of ones for Steve Lato. Let's keep going.
Happen. But here, because the settlement addresses a public program that the department was involved in, well, parts of the settlement have got to be public. As they've actually said, yes, it violated the Fourth Amendment, violated the First Amendment. And keep in mind, people always think of the First Amendment as simply being speech. But there's also a freedom of association. You can hang out with who you want to hang out with. And you don't have to hang out with people you don't want to hang out with. That's my simplified version.
Probably
of that
kinetic.
Freedom of association. And so apparently one of the things they're doing here was saying, well, this person here is bad. So all of their known associates must be bad also. See, I picked up a lot of really cool language from detective shows in the 70s.
Columbo.
And we all know, by the way, if you want to solve a crime, you don't do predictive policing. You contact Huggy Bear. He knows. But I've digressed.
I
So
love this guy.
I got to point out, as I often do, the Institute for Justice thrives doing what they do. But they also survive entirely based on the generosity of donors. They're a nonprofit. And a lot of people in my audience have donated to them. And I get notes all the time from people saying, Steve, I just donated to the Institute for Justice because I hear you talking about them and I want to support them and I wanted to let you know that. And I appreciate that. Thank you very much. Even though I don't benefit at all from that, but they do. But they're such a good organization that I support them, and I encourage other people to support them as well. And I've mentioned before, a little over a year ago, I went to a retreat where they were putting on presentations, but they also brought in some of their clients. And I've met people that I've done stories about. I met somebody, for instance, who had a safe deposit box in that private vaults business in California. I met James King, the guy who was beaten up by the undercover cops in Grand Rapids, Michigan. I met him. And it was amazing to meet the people who are in these stories. But I got to watch the attorneys, and I saw presentations. And then later on, they did a Supreme Court presentation in the Michigan Supreme Court.
All right, so we kind of got the idea. Like Steve kind of like laid out what's going on with the kind of laid out what's going on with this predictive policing, which is just right out of a Tom Cruise movie. It's just ridiculous. But, you know, when you have an uneducated populace who went to public school or a public university, you're brainwashed into thinking this is totally okay. And that's the problem that I have. We need to go back to homeschooling, homesteading, growing our own food, and having a father and a mother at home to properly rear their children. Give me a bunch of ones if you agree. And in the meantime, we're going to show this video.
An admission that this program never should have been implemented, and it is a guarantee that this program will never be implemented again.
Tonight, the Pasco County Sheriff's Office has reached a settlement in its controversial intelligence-led policing program.
Yeah, for more than 3 years, Sheriff Chris Nacco's agency faced litigation in which critics accused it of discrimination and harassment. Investigative reporter Brittany Muller joins us now live. Brittany, that litigation ended today, correct?
Josh, it did. The ongoing legal battle ended this morning when the Pasco County Sheriff's Office reached a settlement. The plaintiff's attorneys claim the settlement is an admission of wrongdoing, but the Sheriff's Office says this is strictly a financial decision that was best for the taxpayers who fund the agency's operations.
They're not just arresting innocent people, they're targeting people.
Robert Jones says he was harassed and ultimately arrested after the Pasco County Sheriff's Office predicted he would be a troublemaker in what critics call the agency's predictive policing program.
They were doing anything they could to take me to jail.
Jones is one of 4 Pasco County citizens who claim their constitutional rights were violated in this federal lawsuit filed in 2021 against Sheriff Chris Nacco. Jones is represented by attorney Robert McNamara with the Institute for Justice.
Fundamentally, this program broke down trust in law enforcement, harassed parents because of their relationships with their children, and treated people as if they were criminals.
By the way, guys, give me a bunch of ones for my buddy Chili DeCastro over at Delete Laws. Give me a bunch of ones for the fact that he got his channel back. And please make sure to like and subscribe to his channel. I really like this guy. I think he's a legit dude, and he's a freedom fighter. So, and this is a reaction video. You're right, Chili. Let's keep watching.
Based on individuals in an office applying an algorithm that they thought would identify future criminals.
On Wednesday morning, the Sheriff's Office reached a settlement, which includes the agency agreeing not to implement a similar program in the future. A spokesperson shared this statement with 8 on Your Side. The Pasco Sheriff's Office will never apologize for keeping our community safe and holding those who victimize our community accountable for their actions. It is important to note that this is the final case tied to the false reporting alleged by former members of the Sheriff's Office who were held accountable and disciplined for their actions.
What happened here today should send a message to law enforcement across the country that in the United States, we punish people after they've been convicted of a crime. We don't punish people because we've decided they might commit a crime in the future.
Now, those 4 families will receive a total $105,000 settlement. The Pasco County Sheriff's Office says this is a minimal settlement agreement and is significantly lower than anticipated attorney costs for trial, which could have reached millions of dollars. The settlement will be paid for by the Florida Sheriff's Association Risk Management Fund. We'll be posting the Pasco County Sheriff's Office full statement on our website, WFLA.com. Brittany Muller, 8 on Your Side.
In other words, a fund that was set up will protect them, that they probably got that money from like seizing someone's property, civil asset forfeiture or something like that. So they're going to be protected and they can just keep on going on violating people's rights because why not? Because all they have to do is seize someone else's property under some civil asset forfeiture law and they'll be fine. Right, guys? Right? Give me a bunch of ones if you agree. All right. So, right, a slush fund. That's right, Black Man 903. And I'm assuming 903 is your area code. I'll have to look that up sometimes, homie. So the one, I'm just going to share one last video with you guys. I've got a dear friend of mine from out of town who's been waiting for me downstairs. So I want to, but I want to, give you a good show, a really, really good show tonight. So let's go ahead and have a little bit of fun. This is a 13-minute video. And I just want you guys to see like the kind of stuff that I'm used to watching and as a lawyer with the police video and stuff. And I want to get your opinion of this. Let's keep going.
I don't really have to give you that information.
Actually, you do have to give him that information,
Actually, I don't,
mister.
'cause I didn't do nothing.
Mister, if you don't identify yourself, you're going to go to jail. I'm going to identify you there. Do you understand?
Okay, well, it's Bobby.
You understand?
Yes, sir, it's Bobby.
And give him your information.
What's your date of birth? I don't got no problem. Why you gotta stop me?
Because right now you're detained.
Why?
We got a report you've been jumping in and out of traffic.
That's bullshit. That's bullshit. I fell off the curb. I fell off the curb.
I've got him right here. He's in the Summit parking lot. Miss, you're going to get taxed.
Yeah, I got to tell you something, guy. This bothers me. All right, what? This dude has got to be about 62 years old. He's clearly overweight. He's not in shape. And they've got him getting in his truck to try to chase down a guy who allegedly is a criminal. I mean, if the guy drops dead of a heart attack, can his family sue the police department for wrongful death? Let me know what you guys think. I want to know what your opinion is. Let's keep watching.
He's headed toward the Blitz Pig.
Jay running.
He's in Christmas match ball.
He's in where?
He's in the dressing room.
Okay. Is there a back entrance? Police department! Checking the back. Did he run down this way?
No.
Okay. I'll check here real quick.
Clear here.
Supervisor went in.
He's probably in here. Open the door.
He's. Let me get a key. Or do you have a knife? Hey.
By the way, take a look at Life Under the Microscope real quick, and I have the comment up there. He homeschools his son, and you can too. Come make a life amazing with a future that is brighter for the children. $25 a month, $240 a year, $400 for 2 years. www.classicallearner.com. That's my friend Brett Pike. He's got a homeschooling system that teaches children about the Bill of Rights, the Constitution, natural law. Legit dude, how to become an entrepreneur, how to set up your own business and not have to go to the Marxist-run college system that destroys the minds of your children and makes them the enemies of the Constitution. So it's a really, really great program. Let's keep going, guys. Let's keep going.
Hey, do you have keys in this bathroom? I'm changing clothes. Ran from us. Sir, who's that?
Hey, it's the police department.
I'm changing clothes, sir.
Okay, well, we're going to have to come in if you don't come out.
What's going on?
Hey, we just want to come talk to you, okay?
No, I'm changing clothes.
Hey!
I'm in here.
No, you just need to come talk to us real quick.
Rock quick.
Who? It's just like you have to break it open. Who?
Hey, we just want to come talk to you, okay? You need to step out.
Changing clothes.
Okay? Hey, I'm Officer Perry with the Hot Springs Police Department. I need you to come out here, okay?
And I'm Officer with Heidi.
Well, hey, officer. You come out here and talk to me, okay?
Right on, Dr. Donald Walter.
Okay, well, listen.
I'm with Heidi.
You're under arrest, police department.
I'm with Heidi. Hey, that's illegal. That's illegal.
Put your hands behind you.
I'll be talking to Sergeant. I'm talking to Sergeant Heidi.
There's one.
I'll be talking to Sergeant Heidi. I'll be talking to Sergeant Heidi. I'll be talking to Sergeant Heidi, sir. I will be talking to Sergeant Heidi.
Okay.
I have been traffic, sir.
Congratulations. You good? Everyone good?
I will be talking to Sergeant Heidi, sir.
You ready to get up?
Yes, sir.
All right.
Yes, sir. I'll be talking to Sergeant Heidi. I'll be talking to Sergeant Heidi. I've been safe traffic. I have been trafficked.
Which unit?
This was mine.
What's wrong with you anyway? What is wrong with y'all anyway?
You want to do another pat down?
That's fine. Do a pat down.
Get on that side.
You're a fine kid. I've been traffic. I'm out of the program. No, my bad. I didn't spit on you. I mean to spit on you. But look, I'll be talking to Sergeant Heidi, bro. I'll be talking to Sergeant Heidi.
You all right?
Yeah, I ate it a little bit. But I rolled good.
Did we ever find out who the he was? I heard you getting ready to run on him. I didn't know if
Bobby on something. He said his name's Bobby. I don't
But he
believe
couldn't come up for his day birth or nothing like that.
you mind going in there.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know about you guys, but I think it's a hard day's work. I think they all need to head on over to the strip club and show off their new tattoos. What do y'all think? I'm sure that's where they're headed after this. What do you guys think? Give me a bunch of ones if it's strip club, or a bunch of twos to go home and beat their wives. I'm just joking, guys. Just joking. What do y'all think, though? I want to hear what you guys have to say.
Camera, take pictures.
Yeah. He's beating his head.
What's your name?
I've been traffic. I'm with Sergeant Heidi.
Okay, what's your name?
And Tiana.
Well, we had to break a door to get into them. They didn't have a key.
Okay, what's your birthday?
I've been traffic. You hear me?
I hear you.
I'm willing to give y'all names.
Okay, well, I got to identify you first.
No, I'm serious. I'm dead ass.
And I'm dead ass serious, too.
Please, sir, please. I've been working against these people that have been taking girls, bro.
Hey, who are you?
I'm telling you, but they've been taking girls. You hear me? You hear me? But they've been taking girls, and I'm worried about these girls. These girls are my sisters. Do you hear me, sir?
Yeah, I'm trying to see if he dropped anything. Drop that.
I mean, it's not a whole lot of damage.
Okay, so here's the problem, guys. So we've seen like hundreds of videos where police plant drugs on people. And so for them to come along and say, oh, he dropped this, you know, all he's got to do is pull out his own personal stash of meth or a little bit of bud that he's got and allege that that guy had those drugs. It's total BS. Give me a bunch of ones if you agree with me that it's total BS. They're going to use that evidence and say that he dropped that, when you and I both know that that's just all about getting a bonus, getting a promotion, you know what I mean? It's like, it's not real. So that's the kind of stuff that really bothers me about the administrative state and their agents. Just to be able to say, oh yeah, here's the drug. Give me a break, man. Give me a freaking break. So stupid. I mean, as a lawyer, I got to deal with guys like, look at this guy. I mean, he looks like he spends most of his day at Winchell's Donuts. I mean, I can't even believe, like, I don't know, man. Let's just keep watching. This is just crazy to me.
Got Tyler, driver's license suspended, failed to appear public intox, no bond warrant out of our department. Also shows to have made threats to harm law enforcement and is aggressive towards law enforcement in the past.
Aggressive towards law enforcement.
Yeah, I'd say that's affirmative.
Sir, I can't be no more
He's trying to escape. That's not aggressive. That means he's scared.
If you were serious with helping us, you wouldn't have run off. You ran off because you had a
He's terrified.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, of course.
But no, I'm willing to help you regardless. Do you understand that? I'm willing to help you regardless.
Okay, well, you can start by not calling me names. How about that?
I will give you names.
Okay, you can give the detective names. You can start by being civil to me.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
When all you've done is lie and ran from me.
Because I was scared.
Yeah.
He's scared. That's it.
I'm not scared. What the I've never been in trouble before.
Yeah, that's why you missed your court date.
Because I've never been in trouble before.
Having a court date implies that you were in trouble before.
Because I didn't want to get in trouble.
That makes about as much sense as saying I didn't want to cut myself, so I played with knives. Do you understand?
Because I didn't want to get in trouble, bro.
Let me get pictures of that.
173. 173, off-duty, 501 crime.
You and your ass. You ugly boy and white.
Oh boy, Hot Springs Police.
I'll become a snitch. Oh God, I'll become a snitch.
I believe you don't have to keep repeating.
I'll become a snitch. Tell me what you want to know. I'll let you know it.
By the way, guys, saying stuff like that when you're on your way to jail, knowing that that's on a police body cam, if those cops got it in for you, that stuff's going up on YouTube like tomorrow. So don't be saying stuff like that. Obviously, this guy looks like he's a little high. Maybe he's taking a little bit of drugs. Probably needs to get into a treatment program and not thrown into prison. I don't know what you all think, but that's kind of my philosophy is probably the last place you want to send someone who has a possibility of being saved is into a jail or a prison. But him saying that stuff on tape, that pretty much just made him the prison woman. Give me a bunch of ones if you guys agree. Let's get back into the video. We'll be done pretty soon, guys, and we'll call it a night.
There we go.
You need last name.
Right here to God, I was snitch.
Is that a hobble? It's his head he's banging, not his feet. Yeah. Just go ahead and get his stupid ass out to the jail. Have the jail nurse staff
right on, black
give
man.
you a Band-Aid. Check your shoulder if they need to, whatever.
He's cray-cray.
I was
This dude's
snitch
nuts,
on
man.
all the plugs.
Stop yelling.
Whenever you get back up here.
Sir, I got kids, please. I will give you names, sir.
He doesn't even know the names of his kids for crying out loud.
Okay, I'll let the detectives know, man.
Please.
I will let the detectives know.
I'm trying to do good here. Please. Why don't you understand that?
I do understand. I told you to tell the detective.
Sir! Stop dragging mom in the back seat like this before I charge you.
Okay.
I am.
You want more charges? Go ahead.
So one thing I want to point out to y'all is, being a personal injury attorney, I know for a fact that every police department has a protocol that they're supposed to strap in the person in the back seat that's in those torture cuffs. And what's going to happen is, when those torture cuffs are on your back and you're rolling around and you strike that hard plastic seat, they're going to get tighter and tighter and tighter. And we had a case like this, I don't know, about 12 years ago, where a dude ended up having a fingertip amputation because the blood flow got cut off to his fingertips. And a very similar case. He was strapped in, but his hands are behind his back, and every time they and they do it on they're doing this on purpose because they hate the guy, right? And this is the problem when you have a bunch of freaking redneck idiots on the police department. Give me a bunch of ones if you guys understand what I'm talking about. Let's keep watching, and you guys will see what the problem that I have. That's why I wanted to share this video with you guys. I mean, this is ridiculous, right? I mean, they've got this guy in the back of the car. They got the lights on. They got the sirens on. They're driving like erratically, and the guy's getting thrown all over the back of the car. Those handcuffs are getting tighter. Although he banged his head because he's a freaking idiot, obviously. Now they're making it worse. They're causing him to suffer extreme bodily harm. Now, do you really wonder why he ran from them? Think about it. Obviously, he ran from them because he knew that this was going to happen, right? Am I wrong? I mean, I'm just being like a logical, normal human being. You guys tell me what y'all think. Let's keep watching. He's not strapped in. Why isn't he strapped in? There's seatbelts there. Why aren't the seatbelts on?
You ugly ass black cracker. You're gonna get charged much.
1 in 6, he's banging his head. I'm gonna get to jail.
You stupid. You treat me like shit.
Let him know he's spitting.
I don't want to give you information. You treat me like shit. I want to give you information on everything. I know a lot about the sex trafficking.
I'm a patrol guy. That's all I am. Detectives are the one that takes the information and busts people. Understand?
Yes, sir. I've just been wanting to become a cop, man. And only because of the trafficking. Please be careful. I'm sliding.
I know it.
Stop slapping my head.
Insane.
Please stop slapping my head, please.
Listen to me.
Please, I'm begging you. Please stop.
Stop what?
Stop banging my head around.
I'm not
Stop
banging your head
banging
around.
my head around.
Dude, we're We're driving straight. We're driving straight, dude.
Yeah, but you're driving aggressive.
Get a grip, dude.
You're driving aggressive.
Grow up.
Otherwise, my head wouldn't be slinging across the car.
That is why we're driving aggressive, to get you to the jail, because you don't know how to behave. If you knew how to behave, we wouldn't have to come over here fast.
So, okay, right now, so the officer's admitting that he's driving aggressively because the guy in the back seat doesn't know how to quote unquote behave. And so that's why the guy's terrified of the police, because he's not strapped in. I wonder why he's not strapped in. Think about it, guys. So this is part of the torture if you don't go along with the program. So just imagine a boot stamping on your face forever. This is what George Orwell warned us about. And this is what motivated me to become a lawyer, to stop things like this from happening. I hope you guys understand where I'm coming from, because as a pro-per, you can make a couple of victories for yourself. But as a lawyer, you might have an opportunity to get some people who've been locked up for 20 or 30 years and get them out. Think about that. Yeah, but, you know, my expertise is personal injury, so I'm going to tell you right now that no reasonable officer would put a guy in the back of the car without strapping him in, number one. And number two, no reasonable police officer would drive the way this guy's driving. And no reasonable officer would ever admit the reason I'm driving aggressively is because you don't know how to behave. All right, so that's the whole point of this video. Let's keep watching.
I'm trying to help you out.
You know, at this point, I don't care. Shut up. Cool. I will charge you with everything I can charge, Bubba. You will not see the outside of a jail
throwing him around.
Either way it goes, I'm trying to help you out.
I ain't talking to nobody. Shut up.
Either way it goes, I'm trying to help you out.
I don't care.
I asked you politely, sir. I asked you politely.
I heard you the first 17
times. Okay.
He's on this side.
Be polite, I'll be polite. Look, I know a lot about traffic, okay?
So that's the sheriff. Okay, so let me just give you like the transition. So now what's going to happen is he'll be transferred from the local municipal police to the sheriff. And you can see you got this woman here whose waist is about as big as her butt. And without those two other officers who are in better shape, she'd never stand a chance, right? Any kind of physical altercation, even with a 110-pound little scrawny dude filled with testosterone. So there you go. There's your example. They're getting passed off to the sheriff. Now, what's going to happen to him in jail? Well, he's already admitted that he's going to be a snitch. So once that officer passes the word off to these deputies, they're going to tell all these dudes in the jail this dude's a snitch. I'm just telling you how it's really going to work. So it doesn't matter what the charges are. It could be jaywalking. This dude is going to end up being someone's BITC, you know what, in the jail, and get the crap beat out of him. And that's probably why he was running. But let's keep watching.
Now, if police need you to identify yourself, it's usually for a good reason. Hey everyone, I'm John, and I appreciate you watching. Let me say this: no one wants to be stopped or investigated by police. However, if police are called to a location to investigate, or they observe suspicious or criminal activity, police can investigate. All they need is reasonable suspicion. Now, thinking back, me and my partner responded to a burglar alarm in a sneaker store on the night shift. It was about 5 a.m. when the call came out, so of course the store is closed. We pull up on Torresdale Avenue, and as soon as me and my partner and the sergeant walk up, we notice that the gate to the property was forced open. So instinctively, I go around to the rear of the property, and at first I saw nothing. But then my instincts told me to hide in the bushes, so I hid and waited, lowering my police radio, and sure enough, a male peeked over the wall of the rear of the sneaker store, hopped over, and attempted to run. So I identified myself and quickly apprehended the male because, of course, he and some other males who were apprehended in the front of the store by my partner and my sergeant broke into the store to steal sneakers. When I testified in court, the totality of the circumstances and my articulation proved that he broke into the store and was trying to escape. Now, my point of the story is I stopped, investigated, and identified the male as one of the burglars, so he was arrested. Now, with this case at a Hot Springs Police Department in Arkansas, police respond to a call of a male jumping in and out of traffic. So they locate and attempt to stop the male, and it turns into a foot pursuit. And the male runs into a spa and attempts to hide from the officers. Now, the officers had to literally force one of the interior doors open to apprehend the male, but they did a great job at clearing and searching the spot safely, and hopefully the suspect gets some help, because jumping in and out of traffic is not
Yeah, trust me, those cops have no intention of getting him any help except from Bubba in the jail. So that's the issue that I have is once you get into the prison system, once you get jailed, you automatically hate police. There's no turning back. And that's an example. They did not even strap the guy in. You didn't even hear the guy talking in Ebonics say anything about the fact this dude was not strapped into his seat. I mean, that's the first thing you would do as a reasonable police officer is to strap the guy in. He didn't even mention the fact that one of the officers who was driving the car admitted that he was driving aggressively because the guy didn't behave properly. So that's another issue. It's a real problem, guys, and it's happening all across the United States. And it's a real problem. And if you're a person who believes in God and humanity, you're just not going to support something like that. And I'm not a liberal. I'm not an ACLU guy. I am a Marine. I believe in law and order, but I believe in the law of God. I believe in natural law. And there's a real problem. Our law enforcement officers are no longer peace officers. And that's something that Chile talks about. There's no longer peace officers in this country. They're law enforcement officers. Give me a bunch of ones if you know what I'm talking about. There's no more peace officers. It's all about raising revenue, civil asset forfeiture, making that collar, getting money from the prison industrial complex, getting a promotion based upon a bust. It's not about helping people. If they wanted to help that guy, it's obvious the dude's on something, right? Probably crack. He's got a face tattoo. He's got problems. So what are you going to do? You're going to like brutalize him and terrorize him more? I mean, how is that going to help the country? How is that going to help America? It's not. It's not going to help America. The guy's got issues. He needs help. But telling him that he's not behaving, so you're going to drive aggressively, that's not going to help either. I mean, these cops have basically become criminals with badges and guns. Give me a bunch of ones if you agree. Because that's how I feel. When I see these guys with their sleeves and their tattoos and knowing that they have control of the jail, that dude is done. Once he goes into jail after admitting that he's going to be a snitch, he's done. His life's over. So, yeah, everyone's a piggy bank. That's right, Matt Johnson. So I hope you guys had a good time tonight. We've been on for like 2 hours. Look, man, again, I didn't get into this. I didn't get into this to make a lot of money or whatever, but if you guys want to help support my channel to help it make it possible for me to keep coming on and bringing you good material, take a look at my ebook. I have a digital version of this ebook. You can go to my YouTube channel and you can learn about my journey to becoming a practicing lawyer with no law degree or undergrad. And I talk about the different states that have law office study programs and similar programs to the one that I was on. And you can learn about how to become an attorney in your state. And again, for the next shows and future shows, anyone who throws me a super chat or a super sticker or whatever, even if it's $1, it doesn't matter to me. It shows me that you appreciate me and my show. And I'll always make sure that your comments go to the front of the line. But with that being said, I'm not going to be able to go live tomorrow night, guys. I have a couple of briefs that I got to get caught up on. I am a lawyer licensed to practice law in Texas and California. Most of the cases that I handle involve catastrophic injuries. And so that's what I do. Motorcycle accidents, big rig truck accidents, bus accidents. That's kind of what I do. So if any of your family members have been injured or have a problem in those states, I'm definitely down to help you. If you have other areas of law that are outside my area of expertise in another state, or even in these 2 states, Texas and California, I'll try to help you find someone to help you with your case, okay? Don't think I'm going to abandon you because I do care about people, but I'm hoping you guys had a good time. I thought that I disabled Nightbot, for crying out loud, but for some reason, I don't know what happened. I thought I got rid of Nightbot because Nightbot's just been causing tons of trouble for me. But Rami, thanks for showing up, brother. And Gloria Ad, it's good seeing you again, sister. It's been a long time. Rod Rodriguez, thanks for coming on the show and giving me some love and supporting Team MPE. I'm working on trying to get some merch, some Team MPE shirts and hats and all that other cool stuff. But I'm just, more than anything, it's just nice to be able to have people on the show that care about the Constitution, the Bill of Rights, natural law, and want to learn about what's going on. And now, real quick, SW Observer says, can you help with a short fundraiser on? Absolutely. So SW Observer says, can you help with a short fundraiser? Info is on Signal. Give me 1 second, SWE. Let me take a look, bro. And by the way, SW Observer is over in Sweden, so it's really rare to meet somebody in another country who's all about the Bill of Rights and the Constitution. So let me just take a look. I'm over here on Signal, bro. I'm looking at our group chat. I'm trying to find out what fundraiser you need me to help with. Tapped out. Hold on. Let me look. Auditors of America. Auditors of America, LDOF. Hold on 1 second. Let me see if there's a way. It's a screenshot, brother. So it's hard for me to be able to share this link. SW Observer, can you share the link for me in the chat? Can you do that for me, brother? Just like drop it in the chat, the sidebar there. And, you know, I have no problem sharing it, but I'm not able to click on it. But I'm down to help out in any way that I can. And if Gloria, if you know what he's talking about, give me the link. But SW Observer, based on what I'm seeing, it looks like he's wanting me to support Auditors of America, LDOF. Auditors of America, LDOF. And somebody's going to end up doing 280 days in jail unless they can pay $600 in fines. Gosh, that's terrible. So, yeah, we're all tapped out, bro. I mean, I've been trying to support Lane Meyers, and I'm not rolling like I used to, guys, but I just really like the guy. I think he's cool. So I'm waiting for SWE to drop me the link. And then we'll close the show out after that. And then David wants us to buy him a car, so I'm just going to go ahead and ban him because he's an idiot. And let me see, what else do we have? I'm just waiting for USWE. There we go. There we go. Life under the microscope. Guys, support Auditors of America, LDOF. If there's a way that you are able to help our brother in the community who's trying to look after his ability to support himself, if you can even throw him. So here's the way I do it, guys. Like, when you guys give me a super chat or a super sticker, I don't care if it's $100 or even $1. What matters to me is that you're trying to support the channel, because I do this as a labor of love. But I have a family, and you know, honestly, my wife doesn't like it that I spend 2 and 3 hours doing these shows when I could be working on a file. So any of that stuff is super, super important. But in this particular case, this link that they just shared, hold on a minute. Where is the Auditors of America? And I'm going to try to find it too. Auditors of America. It's Tennessee Tyrant Hunter. And I'm going to go ahead and subscribe as well. I'm going to drop it in the regular YouTube chat. All right. Hopefully you guys see that. I just shared it as well. Make sure to, and as well, by the way, guys, do me a favor. Any of the people in my show right now who have an extra 20, 30, 40, 50 bucks, reach out to BZ Watchdog and support him, as opposed to giving me a super chat or something, and help him out. He's been having some hard times trying to, build his brand and build his channel, getting falsely arrested. I'll let him explain that to you in private. But what I recommend is you also check out the michaeleline.com website and support his channel where he sells self-defense equipment. But right now, one of the best things you can do is help with Tennessee Tyrant support his channel, throw him a super chat, whatever it might be that he needs, and look out to BZ Watchdog and throw him whatever you can. And I'll let you tell him, BZ. Go to BZ Watchdog's channel. He's a buddy of mine. He's a Marine. You know, we take care of each other in the Corps. We're a band of brothers. Just do what you can to help him out. You know, I'm blessed that I still have my health and I have a family to look after me, but a lot of you guys don't. So I appreciate it that you try to take care of my brothers and sisters who are suffering. And we, you know, no man is an island, so we have to look after one another. So anyways, make sure to like and subscribe, guys. I'm going to go ahead and close it out. Make sure to save, because we never know when the thought police are going to take down this channel. And I do appreciate all your support. It really means a lot to me. And I'm hoping that you guys can see that I'm just a legitimate guy, a real person who just cares about his country. And hopefully you guys understand this isn't like some money-making venture, obviously, right? I mean, hopefully you guys understand I'm a real lawyer who can make a lot more money than doing a YouTube show. This has meaning to me. It means something to me. And I'm hoping that you guys understand that. I'm a genuine person who cares about America. And when I see that 20,000 people watched my show, that really just tickles me pink. And I'm hoping that you guys see that. I really care about my country. And I care about all of you guys too. And I know I don't want any of you to suffer, especially my friend BZ or this Tennessee guy. I have no idea who he is, but if he's coming recommended from Life Under, obviously he's somebody we need to look after. So I know it's Christmas time. I know we're all suffering, but there are people out there who bring you really good content and try to help you. So think about BZ, think about the Tennessee guy, think about Delete Laws, think about Chili. He was locked up for 4 months on a false charge, and he lost, in my estimation, without violating any attorney-client or anything like that, but as a personal observer, the guy probably lost close to $100,000 in potential revenue and future advancement to be able to support himself in his old age. The guy's 50 now. You know, he's not going to be able to keep doing these shows forever. I mean, we got to think about that. He's got no retirement coming from the government like all these state employees. Like, we have to take care of each other. And so I'm just going to segue into the fact that we need to create parallel systems like Martin Luther King, where we look after each other as patriots. We need to find a way to create our own social safety net. All right? We need to create our own social safety net. If you go to my michaeleline.com website, I have a parallel systems page. If you guys have a business, of a patriotic business that you want me to add, reach out to BZ Watchdog. I'll make sure to throw it on that page, and I'll help support your businesses. We should not be shopping at Walmart or Target, any of these like anti-American businesses, BlackRock, where they're trying to tell your daughter that she's a boy and your son that he's a girl when you're already struggling, trying to figure out how to support your family. Now you got to deal with some government employee trying to brainwash your kids. No, we need to homeschool our children. We need to grow our own food, and we need to support each other. Give me a bunch of ones if you guys agree. We need to support each other. We do not need to rely on the administrative state and these Marxist commies who are trying to destroy the minds of our children. It's unacceptable to me. And so I'm hoping that my channel will help you guys, like, at least get inspired. You know, I do my lawyer workout videos at 4 a.m. Work out, eat right, take care of yourselves, guys. Look, they want you to be out of shape. They want you to be drinking Cokes all day. They want you to be out of shape because that way you're forced into the government-run healthcare system. You become more dependent on the government. If you're healthy, you've taken about 90% of the power away from the administrative state. I mean, look at all the disgusting fat bodies and weirdos they put in charge of the departments of health. That should give you an idea of how ridiculous these people are. That's another reason why I support RFK. I mean, he's trying to get the fructose out of our food, trying to expose the pharmaceutical industrial complex. I mean, come on, guys. Like, stop letting the state brainwash you. Start taking care of yourselves. Just listen to me, guys. And so SW Observer has another one, Camera Terrorist 69. Love the 69. That tells me you're a dude, so that's cool. So Camera Terrorist 69, obviously a dude, probably served in the Corps or some military, right? Love that. So SW Observer, brother, I'm always here to support you, especially since you're a Swede. And, you know, my dad was a Swede, so Yoskade, brother. And I'll always be here for you guys. And, you know, again, you know, if you guys want to support my channel, you want to help me feed my family, aside from sending me a motorcycle or a car accident case, pick up a copy of my book for $19.99. Get a digital copy of my ebook, My Journey to Becoming a Practicing Lawyer with No Law Degree or Undergrad. It's $19.99. It's inspirational. Hopefully it'll motivate you. I'm hoping Lane Meyers will read it so he can see why I'm so much different than the other lawyers. I'm not looking for any publicity or any kind of an endorsement from him. I want to help him so he doesn't end up getting locked up again. And I know that he's a tough guy and he can handle being locked up, but I don't wish jail on my worst enemy. It's the worst thing that could ever happen to you. And you're at the mercy of the jailers who are friends with those same judges and detectives who put you there, brother. And that means you're separated from your wife and kids. There's no Zoom there. And anything could happen to you. So that scares the crap out of me. And I don't want that to happen to you, Lane, or any of you guys on my channel, or anyone in this world. So, no, that's cool, Lawyer Dog. I doubt he'll ever reach out to me, dude. I get it. I know his type. You know, he's a lawyer. He's a BAR, British Accreditation Registry, whatever. They're not going to want to have anything to do with me. And that's fine. I don't care. Because my job is to look beyond that and try to find a way to help make America a better and safer place for people who support the Constitution and the Bill of Rights. And I just figured that I was a Lane, you know, back 20 years ago. And I realized that I could do a better job at trying to change the system from within. And, you know, I'm supporting him financially and doing whatever I can to help him and his family. And he doesn't have to support me. That's not what matters. It's not quid pro quo, guys. You do what your heart tells you to do. Give me a bunch of ones if you understand what I'm saying. You do what your heart tells you to do. There's a Holy Spirit. There are angels surrounding all of us, and they're guiding us and directing us to do the right thing. And sometimes you have to just do what your heart says. And so, anyways, guys, I got to get going, man. I got a buddy of mine. We're trying to figure out a way to buy a bunch of gold and silver before the market goes bananas. So to support our wives and kids, and that's what it's all about for me now at my advanced age, is just leaving them something they can rely on, as well as, you know, 100,000 rounds or more ammo, right? But anyways, make sure to like and subscribe. Make sure to save, because you never know when the thought police are going to take down this channel. If there's anybody here in my audience who knows how to build WordPress websites, who knows how to so WordPress websites, as well as, I'm trying to think. Well, I'll remember, but what I'm getting at is I need help, you know, with t-shirts, with merch, anything I can do to help promote the channel so I can maybe stop practicing law so much and do these shows more, right? I mean, that's what my goal would be. But, you know, I'm not getting rich off YouTube, guys, but maybe there's a way that I could. Maybe there is a way that I could find a way to do these shows more and help you guys as a lawyer. So it's a lot of work, Mia Stero. It's killing me. And it's, you know, my wife's not thrilled about it, you know, but she also understands that I have bigger and loftier goals than just like being a lawyer. You know, I'm a natural law advocate, and I think that with your help, I could really make positive change. Oh, Patreon and Rumble. I need help creating a channel on Patreon and Rumble, because I know, and I think you guys know, that I am so edgy that eventually YouTube's going to wipe out my channel, right? I mean, you guys know that. You guys got to know that. Like, there's no lawyers on here that are like me. they don't like me, guys. So anybody, thank you, Tiffany. We love you too, Tiffany. I really do appreciate you coming on. So anyways, make sure to like and subscribe. Make sure to save, because we never know when the thought police are going to take down this channel. Make sure to support BZ Watchdog in his time of need. And I'll make sure to pay you back somehow in the future, because we're all kind of broke right now. It's Christmas time. But if you can help me do a little bit of a fundraiser for BZ and for Swedish Observer's Friends, that would be really helpful. Even if it's $5, guys. I mean, I had one show that had 100,000 views. If each one of those viewers sent me $100, that would be $100,000. I mean, that would cover about half my overhead for the year. Think about that. And it's not me, it's the firm, you know, like employees, all that stuff. So just think about that. It doesn't have to be big bucks, $1, $2.99, whatever. Just show your support. It's greatly appreciated. So with that being said, Semper Fi, do or die.